Hi, hello everyone. It's good to see a full pack of roundtables. I think we are sitting between this last session and lunch, so I hope you guys stay with us. It's going to be an interesting topic. Pak Rohit and Shanti gave us the tough one, but the most exciting one because I think this is the most discussed topic and quite evolving AI, but we're going to see AI in different angle and then also IP and how brand will fall into it. So I think, yeah, let me start to give you a bit context on the topic today. So now everyone know that we are in the middle of the, high evolving and dynamic marketing um, evolution. I think speaking for Dentsu, I can tell you that my inbox has been full with all the topic related to AI, algorithm, IP, you name it. It's kind of like, our day to day. And I think to explore how to solve this paradox of AI and then also how to turn AI and IP into something that, help our brand to grow. I'm thrilled to be moderating today's session with the two true agent of reinvention, which is Bapak Merik and also Ibu Sarah. Thank you for, having you here. Thanks for being here. And I think just we want to give you a context as well. Just last week, my team and I, we are reviewing one of the AI solutions. I think everyone's here familiar with the AI solutions. When we give a prompt, and then the AI will come up with a couple of creative, execution. So we fed on the brief. We put in the prompt, and then they come up with in split second they come up with 15 different creative, 15 different copywriting, and they come up with with a perfect and fast and optimized and best practice creative. But then we compare those creative with the other, with the same category but different brand that come up, in the market. And we realized that the creative is actually a bit similar and it's replaceable, it's interchangeable. You can just, swap the product with the other brand. So it kind of like struck us, right? When you really use AI to get the scale, at the same time, you see that there's actually a risk of getting a similarity because of, AI will be trained with all the best practices and everything in the market. So I think that is the irony that we face today. AI helps us to scale, but if we're not careful, we are just scaling the sameness, what we call it the sea of sameness. So it's going to be a topic that we discuss about sea of sameness. And that daily tension is actually, the core of our recently released report by Dentsu, 2025 CMO report, the agent of reinvention. That is a survey that we did globally. It represents the voices of 2,000 senior marketers globally. So I will read through some of the data that we collected from the 2025 Dentsu Creative CMO report. It says that across APAC, 82% of CMO expect their budget to increase over the next 12 months. So it's a good news. A lot of people actually still feel that they have to, invest to engage with the consumer. However, the optimism actually comes with another angle because 71% agree also that algorithm is going to be a big thing. So if they don't win the algorithm, my content will not be visible. So I think this is also, a lot of discussion that you or, maybe you discuss with the agency partner as well on how to quote unquote beat the algorithm because you need to make sure that your content quite visible, right? But then there come the risk. 79% of marketers agree that optimizing for the algorithm actually creating a risk of sea of sameness. Because if we all chase the same trends using the same AI models, we lose the very thing that makes us competitive, which is our distinct brand DNA. So it's interesting to see, like, how people actually now putting AI as a hygiene. However, there's also a risk that is coming out of it. So that's why on the report you will see that the humanity, it's becoming something that is critical, that is vital. When we talk about trust, taste, a strong brand preference, it is still the key. And I think, to simply put, just to wrap up, I think brand IP will be the antidote to the sea of sameness. So I want to go to question and then ask the opinion of Pak Merrick and also Bu Sarah. So I think the first question will be, how do we prevent AI purpose of efficiency from leading to creative mediocrity? Because like a lot of people, concerned, right? We use AI, but then it comes to a lot of similarity. Maybe from Mbak Sarah first, what does it mean to you for your organization to leverage AI for speed and efficiency while simultaneously ensuring your final marketing output remains uniquely yours? And also, of course, protecting your brand and also your brand assets.
Okay, thank you Ibu Elvira. Before that, let me greet everyone. Hello everyone, good morning. Semangat pagi dong ya, walaupun jamnya jam kritis nih kayaknya nih kan. Okay, so it's good to be here again. Interesting points that I got from Mbak Elvira. First is actually you're saying that 80% some things that CMO will increase budget. I should have my founder sitting in this room when I propose budget for next year. Okay, the second point, before I joined the sessions and when we put all the conversation in MMA that we're gonna speak today, I've received a direct message saying that, Mbak Sarah, please come with real examples here on your panel. Now I will answer your questions with real examples. So that's the background ya, Bu Santi. Okay, interesting questions, and indeed, it's always a conversations. If we're using AI, whether that AI will pour us into the sea of sameness. So maybe many of us sitting in this room with also having that kind of risk. And indeed, that is actually a risk that we face. So what we do in our organizations in regards to utilizing AI, there are 3 points. Number one, we are utilizing AI in order to accelerate data and generate sharper insights. So that is actually very important for us. And that's we have to utilize AI because nowadays big data management issues. So sometimes you overwhelm with data. Second is about after we get all the sharper insight, how do we utilize AI is actually enhance the creative insight and creative executions. And number 3 is about elevates the talent capability. So, I'm a believer that AI will not replace human. And I'm a believer as well that human without AI will be replaced by human with AI. So we have to utilize AI, and in our organizations, it is a mandatory that every employee should use AI in order to generate uniqueness of our brands. So uniqueness is a key. So let me take an example, again, answering the request. What is the examples? If I have a AI voice comment, the slide, if you can help to play this, the slide. and the slide of CAF. Okay, so this is one examples through the brand of CAF when we launch a product. So we basically utilizing, the AI in order to understand the hyper-segmented audience. Because, in the past we talked about, for example, one bull's-eye consumers, but nowadays cannot. We have to talk about hyper-segmented audience. And by understanding through AI and data analyzing, that hyper-segmented audience should adapt into one single main ideas when we launch this campaign. And through AI, we're able to create a multi-expressions of different personas that serve, like for example, if you are love to hiking, for example, if you are a gamers, if you are a runner, so those kind of single ideas needs to be able to be translated to many different type of asset that cater different persona at speed. So that's how we create an AI and uniqueness of data into this kind of campaign. So, and on top of that, we are also utilizing the advanced technology of our data in order to provide the first male grooming AI skin analyzer. So I hope this helped to answer what Ibu Elvira saying, and also the many of the questions that happened to us. And how do we able to minimizing the risk, even take out those risks, and then creating a uniqueness campaign through AI that is actually able to elevate our competitive advantage. Yeah, that's from me.
Thank you, Mbak. It's amazing, Mbak Sarah, because I think, your organization actually use AI to upskill
Yes.
your teams, understanding, and then that actually, creating the uniqueness itself, right? And then, hopefully will break your brand in the sea of sameness. So now let me go through Pa Merik. It's interesting that I think nowadays we have been talking about, if it's AI, usually it links to all the social media and then all the digital platform, right? But we know that our consumer journey is actually goes beyond, the screens as well. For example, recently a lot of macet happening in Jakarta. So that's why we want to hear from you as well. How do you see that AI in this, risk of sea of sameness from your point of view of, City Vision as the platform?
Thank you, Fira. Thanks for the question. Certainly, I think a lot of the things that Bufira and Busara have mentioned resonates a lot with many of the brands that we're working with. We have the pleasure of working with, a myriad of different categories, whether it's financials, autos, FMCGs. So I think we're able to amalgamate a sort of overall marketing trend vision from that standpoint, and we're also able to decipher certain trends that we see. What we see is that there is a lot more panic in the use of AI today versus it was 2 to 3 years ago. People are starting to become accustomed to accept that AI as a tool versus AI is something we have to do in figuring out the next best notion for AI. In that sense, I'd like to touch upon what Vera mentioned earlier, which is the sea of sameness. The sea of sameness refers to basically, if you're a marketer and you're working with the same data set, and all the algorithms are actually identical by nature, and you're putting in the same prompts within your digital marketing planning tools, of course the output won't be very much different, and it's going to see a uniformity between all the outputs within that. So how are brands challenging that? They're considering other channels beyond just the digital channels to synergize and work, the keyword being synergize, where 1 + 1 = 3 for amplification purposes. So we're seeing things within creativity. Earlier you mentioned that the human aspect will never be replaced. From an outdoor perspective and the brands and the agencies we're working with, the human aspect is definitely far from being replaced in Indonesia. It's still the creative directors, the art directors, the brand managers that are driving the projects and the vision, and AI being used as a tool by which they are implementing their visions and strategy. So I think one of the trends that we see is that it's getting more and more tough in the digital world. TikTok is a competitive battleground. We see brands adding, activation to the mix, outdoor media to the mix as sort of a weapon to stand out against this whole sea of sameness. Yeah.
Thank you. If you have examples that you want to show, because you mentioned that how brands can actually stand out in the sea of sameness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Could we go to slide 2, please? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So we just have a few examples to share. Um, Within the sea of sameness, outdoor advertising is actually in the physical world, right? So I'm just going to talk through the video a bit. We have some global examples to share and also some local examples that we're going to share. Um, Outdoor is very much physical. AI is very much digital within the digital realm, right? So I think one of the advantages out of home is that brands are able to connect with their target audiences where they spend 70% of their waking hours. That's a fact. Indonesians spend 70% of their waking hours outside of the home in their daily journeys. And how can brands be a part of these daily chat touch points amidst an omni-channel background, right? So what we see is offline to online. This is an example of a retailer whereby you can combine and you can shop in a train station. Then we have some examples of activation and creative installations, right? Going big and bold and standing out sort of addresses that sea of sameness that we're referring to earlier. And that's very much a trend and apparent across a myriad of different brands. Dominating the journey is very much key. What you see here is an FMCG where the brief was simple. Let's get creative, let's get out there and stand out. So we put on a smoke show whereby in the launch of the product and every rush hour, the smoke comes off, the lights go on, and it's sort of an amazing show for the general public to see. So I think that's how we address the sea of sameness ordeal.
Got it. Thank you. I think amazing.
Thank you. Thanks.
Amazing examples. And just to share, to your point, Pamerik, we did the IP Expo early this year in January. Interestingly, a lot of brand actually not only they come to connect with the IP, which is the third-party IP, but they're also start thinking on how can I build my brand as an IP. So this is something that I think is quite new and evolving, and hopefully it will become something that is, we all learn together and going to be something that is stronger. So I think let's touch a bit on brand as an IP. Yeah, how can brand not only connecting with the consumer through the available IP that is now, like all the characters and everything, but actually put and build themselves as an IP. So maybe I want to go to Pamerik first, because I'm seeing some of the examples that on the video. This brand is not just placing their logo, right? They're actually creating something that people will remember that the brand is an IP by itself. Maybe share with us, Pamerik, how are the practical application for brands that worked with you in the past that help them to build this kind of IP?
Yeah, sure. I think it's about creativity, making sure you're aware as a marketer what tools are out there that you can use to sort of stand out, right? Offline to online is a major tool that we're seeing a recurring pattern for. It's not just placement in the offline screen, but it's connecting it to your social conversations, to your social engagements, and using that as your metrics. I'm going to remind everybody, which we always do, at the end of the day, this is a room full of marketers. We are not data scientists, we are marketers first, right? So yes, ROAS is important, yes, ROE is important, but let's not forget the poetry of marketing and creativity, right? And there are tools out there today to go big. So what we're seeing is brands like to make a big statement when they're launching, their brand. So they'll take our largest screens in the center of Bundaran HI or in the middle of Sudirman. They'll dominate the whole road. So 3 kilometers, you'll see the same brand and again with the same umbrella message, but a different contextual sub-message to sort of engage. And we're seeing them also use a lot of contextual advertising. So, this is an example of maybe AI's application. From an out-of-home example, it's dynamic. So you can do contextual. So when it rains, you can have an advertisement that links to rains, buy your flu medicine, buy your vitamins, and it can appear from a DOOH platform there. For example, when it's hot and the temperatures are rising and it's during the dry season, the ice cream ad may pop up, or the buying the ice cold drink pops up, or buying the water drink and staying hydrated pops up, right? Or buying sunscreen in the example pops up. So I think like a lot of the contextual examples that I've used are seeing more and more of a trend.
Thank you. And you do get that kind of like, impossible brief and you make it happen
We
most of
have
the time.
very impossible briefs, yes. We do.
Okay. Okay. Now I'll go to Mbak Sarah. Mbak, where do you see the greatest opportunity for leveraging brand asset or IP directly in the AI-driven era? Without sacrificing the quality or your brand trust. Maybe if you can share example, that would be awesome as well. We love examples.
We love examples. Okay, thank you. If can help to go directly to my last slide. While the screen will show up, let me explain. So I think nowadays we have to utilize AI more than just within our internal team. I give you an examples where we are utilizing AI, not only within our internal teams, but how do we utilize AI to our partners? How we utilize AI for our retailers, for our content creators, so that together we create a new revenue stream. A clear example is that maybe many of you understand personal color analysis, or maybe many of you has already try it. It's a personal color analysis is a test for you to understand what are the shades that's actually good for you, and it provides you minimum 12 spectrums of colors. Like this my kind of skin tone. This hijab color is actually suits me, and maybe there are several other colors that suits me. So if you find your true colors, you will look brighter. So that is the technology and science for that. And the one who initiated is actually one of the countries, actually Korea. If you do that, it takes like 1.5 hours, for example. And the cost for you to do that is actually more than 1 million rupiah or so. But what we do is that we utilize AI. We utilize technology in utilizing personal color analysis through AI. And not only that, we are working with dermatologists and skin scientists to understand that much better. So this is where the biggest opportunities lies. It's a combination between technology, but at the same time, human expertise into it. When those two combinations, falls together, we can create a very high new revenue stream. Because when we do this, we able to drive high trialists for lip, for shades, and not only one, but shades. So you can imagine high trialists, high consumptions rate as well. And then for us, when we do this, it generates 1.3 million new users as well. And it drives sales at the higher point because the utilizations of this technology is not within internal team, but for content creators, for retailers, so that it creates, a new revenue stream rather than the old traditional way. Whenever you have a product launch, you put it on shelf, omnichannel, you create asset, that's it. But this AI technology, able to drive experience in wherever you are, and it's actually, able to elevate the ecosystem. So answering the earlier point as well, this is how the technology and IP ecosystem falls together and drive the new revenue streams. That's the example.
That's amazing. I mean, most of us still using AI to drive efficiency, and you are using AI to drive revenue growth.
Yes, we should. There's no
Must
other
be a
way.
huge target, but
A huge target and high competitive contest, yes, it is.
okay. So let me touch a bit because we are discussing about how to future proving the growth when it comes to AI, IP, and also from the brand itself. Maybe Pak Merrick, from your side, how AI accelerate your innovation cycle. Because I think that will be interesting to hear from a platform where AI can, how AI actually, contributes to your innovation cycle.
I think AI also helps us within the measurement aspect, right? So what is AI? It's a means we view in our industry on how to help make our industry a lot more measurable and amalgamating the data, and it shortens essentially the processing time. Just being mindful, I think our time is up. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let me wrap up. I think it's quite interesting because we thought that it's going to be like just 15-minute discussion, but turns out that it's actually longer than that. I'm sure that if you want to ask more questions to Pak Merik, to Mbak Sarah, they will still be here. I think just to recap how the AI and also IP and how a stronger brand preference should be seen. I think how to deal with the new AI world is actually it's actually coming back to the human itself. And the one that will thrive is actually the human or the marketers, all of you in the room, that can really use AI as one source of revenue growth. The second one is to create differentiation, how to be stand out, like Pak Merik mentioned. And then I think the last one will be how to reframe IP or brand IP as a strategic asset. I think that's all from us. I'm happy to discuss after the session, but yeah, thank you for both of you, and thank you MMA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, panelists. As a